Something extraordinary happened in Washington just days after silver suffered one of the most violent price collapses in modern financial history. While millions of retail investors were still staring at their screens in disbelief, watching silver fall more than 40% in less than 72 hours, the United States government quietly scheduled an emergency meeting. No press release. No media cameras. No public explanation. The subject line simply read, "Urgent Interagency Meeting on Critical Minerals." One item on the agenda was marked classified. At the same time, J.P. Morgan's derivatives desk went completely silent for nearly 48 hours. And during the exact moment when panic selling was at its peak, someone with access to treasury-level intelligence quietly purchased 127 million ounces of physical silver. That raises a question far more important than why silver crashed. The real question is what they know about what comes next. If you remember a time when financial news came from newspapers instead of notifications, when understanding markets required patience instead of endless scrolling, then you understand the value of information that actually matters. What we are witnessing right now in the silver market is not just another boom and bust cycle. It is something much deeper. It is a signal. Governments do not convene emergency meetings about commodities without a reason. They do not discuss critical minerals in the same week those minerals collapse unless something is happening beneath the surface. And they certainly do not reference a private bank inside government briefing documents unless that bank holds knowledge or positions that are strategically important. The timing was impossible to ignore. Just 72 hours earlier, silver had collapsed from $121 per ounce to $72. Billions of dollars were erased. Margin calls rippled through trading desks from Shanghai to New York. Financial media declared precious metals finished. But while retail investors were selling in fear, while commentators were celebrating the end of the silver rally, the United States government was quietly assembling experts to discuss the very metal that had just crashed. This was not coincidence. This was response to something far bigger than price. The meeting agenda was short but alarming. Strategic assessment of critical mineral supply chains. National security implications of commodity volatility. Industrial preparedness and resource allocation. One item remained classified. What caught the attention of analysts was a name that appeared inside preliminary briefing documents. J.P. Morgan. Not as a participant, but as a case study. The largest commercial bank in America was being discussed in a government meeting about silver. The same silver that had just crashed. The same silver where J.P. Morgan held positions so large they had triggered regulatory investigations in the past. To understand why this matters, you must understand what silver actually is. It is not just a shiny metal. It is not just something investors trade on screens. Silver is a strategic resource. Every missile guidance system contains silver. Every solar panel requires silver. Every smartphone, every electric vehicle, every 5G tower uses silver. Modern warfare cannot function without it. The renewable energy transition cannot happen without it. And the uncomfortable truth is that the United States does not produce enough silver to meet its own needs. More than 70% of America's silver consumption comes from foreign countries. Mexico, Peru, China. When silver becomes unstable, it is not just investors who suffer. Defense contractors struggle to secure materials. Technology companies cannot plan production. Government agencies cannot guarantee supply chains. This is why the meeting mattered. But there was another layer to this story. J.P. Morgan. For more than a decade, researchers noticed something strange. While J.P. Morgan's trading desks were selling silver futures contracts and pushing prices lower through derivatives markets, the bank's physical metals division was quietly doing the opposite. They were buying physical silver, accumulating it, storing it in vaults, building a position estimated by some analysts to exceed 800 million ounces. More silver than many countries hold in strategic reserves. Why would a commercial bank do this? Why suppress paper prices while accumulating real metal? What did they see coming that others did not? The crash in January was not random. Markets do not move like that without structure beneath the chaos. While Western investors were panic selling, physical silver premiums in Asia surged to 29% above spot price. Buyers were paying almost 30% more than the market price just to secure real metal. Not contracts. Not promises. Actual silver bars. That divergence tells a story. Paper silver said collapse. Physical silver said scarcity. The government meeting was not about reacting to a crash. It was about preparing for what comes after. Governments move on intelligence. Banks position on forecasts. When both happen at the same time around the same commodity, something structural is changing. J.P. Morgan's strategy began after the 2008 financial crisis. When the financial system nearly collapsed, executives learned a painful lesson. Paper promises fail. Only tangible assets survive. Gold survived. Silver survived. Physical commodities held value when institutions disappeared overnight. After that crisis, J.P. Morgan quietly shifted strategy. They began building positions in hard assets. Silver was ideal. Cheap compared to gold. Critical for industry. And small enough that a major institution could accumulate a dominant share. Their analysts saw what was coming. Electric vehicles. Solar energy. 5G networks. Smart devices. Every technological trend required more silver. Yet global mine production was declining. Most silver comes as a byproduct of copper and zinc mining. When those industries slow, silver supply contracts. Demand rising. Supply falling. Deficits growing. Whoever controlled physical silver would control a strategic bottleneck. By 2020, J.P. Morgan held enough silver to influence global markets. Enough to supply industrial clients. Enough to survive shortages. And they acquired it while prices were suppressed. This was not short-term trading. It was long-term positioning. When silver spiked to $121 and then collapsed, J.P. Morgan did not panic. Their cost basis was far below $20. The crash validated their thesis. Silver was strategically valuable. Scarcity was real. Meanwhile, inside a windowless Pentagon room, analysts track something called the National Defense Stockpile. Materials so critical to American security that emergency reserves must be maintained. Silver has always been part of that list. But in 2026, calculations no longer made sense. Modern weapon systems require vastly more silver than in the past. Fighter jets, radar systems, nuclear submarines, satellites, secure communications. Every system depends on silver. If global silver supply were disrupted, defense readiness would collapse in months. Not years. Months. This was not theory. In 2022, China restricted exports of gallium and germanium. Western manufacturers scrambled for alternatives. Silver has no alternative. Defense contractors began calling the Pentagon. Their hedges failed. Physical supply vanished. Delivery times stretched to 16 weeks. Missile contracts were delayed. Aircraft production slowed. Radar installations stalled. All because of silver. The problem extended beyond defense. Climate targets depended on silver. Solar panels. Grid modernization. Electric vehicle infrastructure. International projections showed that climate goals alone would consume 30% of global silver supply by 2030. The deficit was not political. It was mathematical. The government reviewed scenarios. do nothing and face shortages, suffer supply disruptions and compromise national security, or take strategic action, build reserves, incentivize domestic mining, regulate derivatives markets. All options pointed to the same conclusion. Physical silver becomes more valuable, not less. This moment represented convergence. J.P. Morgan accumulated silver for 10 years. The government held emergency meetings. Physical premiums exploded. Someone bought 127 million ounces during panic. These were not random events. They were signals of a market transformation. The crash exposed something regulators could no longer ignore. Price discovery was broken. Paper and physical markets were disconnected. Strategic industries were vulnerable. For business leaders and investors, the lessons are clear. Market price does not equal true value. Strategic positioning requires long-term thinking. Government policy follows reality, not the other way around. Physical assets behave differently during crisis. The crash was not destruction. It was validation. Validation that scarcity matters. Validation that institutions who prepared early will benefit. Validation that silver is no longer just a commodity. It is a strategic resource. The question now is simple. Will governments and institutions learn what J.P. Morgan learned a decade ago? Or will they continue treating silver as just another metal until shortages force their hand? Because in a world where strategic resources become strategic weapons, silver is no longer boring currency. It is power. If you found this analysis useful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel for more deep, data-driven content, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next.